Miss Kinnon? Here. Miss Arnold? Here. Mr. Hedge? Mr. Cooper? Mr. Douglas? Or Miss Douglas, sorry, Miss Douglas. Mr. Marks?
Here.
Mr. Peach?
Here.
Mr. Thornton?
Here.
Mr. Hargis?
Here.
Mr. Livingston?
Here.
Mr. Winters? Mr. Hyatt?
Here.
10 present, 2 absent.
Thank you, Ms. Michelle. We do have a quorum. First item on the agenda, due to the loss of our chairman, Mr. Cooper, we need a nomination for chair. Do I have a nomination for chair?
I'd like to nominate John King for chair.
Recommendation by Ms. Arnold, a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hyde. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion nomination cease and we like to buy acclamation. Second.
Had a motion to cease nominations. Second by Mr. Winters. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Ms. Kenny. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I have some, big shoes to fill. So, I'm gonna do my absolute best and have our kids first and foremost, always. We need to elect a vice chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
Robert Benton.
Second. We have a nomination and a second for Robert Livingston as vice chair. Is there any discussion?
Do the same thing, move the nomination cease and be elected by acclamation.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close nominations. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Mr. Robert Livingston is our vice chair.
Thank you.
Moving on with the agenda, the next item is to approve the agenda. I want to remind you that when we approve the agenda for this meeting, we are also approving the consent agenda, which includes approval of the December minutes, approval of substitutes pending background checks, and there is a list in your packet, and approval of January the 11th as School Nutrition Appreciation Day, and that is one of our U-Trust days.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. Is there any discussion? If not, we will vote. All those in favor of approving tonight's agenda and approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The agenda and the consent agenda have been approved. The next item is to approve the resolution opposing school choice legislation.
Move the adoption of this.
We have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution opposing school choice legislation. That was in the memo that was mailed out. It's also in your packet. Mr. Florence, do you want to explain?
I can, and I don't mind reading it either way.
Has everybody had a chance to read it? Is there any discussion about it?
You might just summarize,
It's basically what this is doing is opposing any legislation that would, take public dollars and put them into a private school. We've known as vouchers. We do know the governor has a Education Freedom Scholarship Act. We know nothing about that because there's not been any legislative bills submitted. Obviously, the legislative session starts this week. Several districts across the state are adopting legislation. We've done this in the past. I think it's critical. We'll talk about it a little later, but I think it's critical to the state of our public schools in Benton County and throughout the state of Tennessee.
Any further discussion?
All right, once this is, if this is passed here and then we assign it and then you'll have it sent into to the stage that we're going, this resolution.
If you approve it, we'll send it to TOS, which is Tennessee Organization of School Superintendents, TSBA, and then I will also email a copy to Representative Reedy and Senator Stevens.
Do you have any other discussion? If not, we will vote. All those in favor of approving the resolution opposing school choice legislation, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. We will, all sign the resolution and send it to the appropriate people. The next item on the agenda is to approve these policies on the second reading. 1.105, 1.701, 2.400, 2.601, 2.8051, 4.603, and 4.204. And remember, this is on the second reading. All of these are in your packet for the meeting.
Vote to approve these policies.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve these policies on the second reading. Do we have any discussion?
Ms. Carter, nothing to change, but policy, Ms. Kennon, I'm sorry, showing my age.
It's okay. I'll let you.
Policy 6.3041, Title IX, it was brought to my attention, you did approve on first and second reading last meeting to change to Erica Lynch to our Title IX coordinator, and that was approved at the December meeting, but I did not put the copy of the change in your packet, so we'll make sure that's in the February packet.
Do we have any other discussion?
Now, if this gets approved, they got holes punched in the side. They go in your policy thing, and the other ones come out.
Or if you're not an old timer like Mr. Hyde, you can look online.
Yeah.
Look in the book.
Anything further? If no further discussion, we will vote. All those in favor of approving these policies on the second reading, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. These policies are approved. They do have holes. They go in your policy binder. The next item on the agenda is to approve the fire pump bid for the CTC. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the fire pump bid.
We have a second.
Second, and Marks.
We have a motion and a second to approve the fire pump bid at the Career and Technical Center. Mr. Florence, do you want to explain?
I will. If you remember in the November meeting, you did grant the director the authority to approve the bid. We did not receive any bids, so we did receive a bid in December. And so since they're not going to start until next week, hopefully, I thought it would be good to present this to the board. This is the fire pump at the Career and Technical Center. The only time it's ever on is to test. The fire marshal has said that it has to be replaced. We have rebuilt to the point it can't be rebuilt, so you'll see the resolution later. We're going to take that out of fund balance to have that pump replaced.
Any other discussion or any questions?
Was anybody else, did you hear from anybody else on the, okay.
Anything else on this? If no further discussion, we will vote. All those in favor of approving the fire pump bid at the CTC, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. The fire pump bid has been approved. The next item on our agenda are the budget resolutions. They are in the packet. I can read them if you want me to. There's a bunch of them.
Make a motion to approve them as they're written.
We have a second? We have a motion and a second to approve these as written. Is there any discussion?
Yes, just a question. Excuse me. These will be a roll call vote, I think, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And one thing I want to bring to your attention, the TISA, which is a large amount, the $268,925, that's the additional TISA funds for test scores and special ed. There's a lot of factors way into that, and so we'll be getting those each December or January with TISA funding. And then also I wanted to bring to your attention, thanks to Mr. Phelps in the back, we received an additional $42,776.23 in a public school safety grant on top of the already grant that was awarded earlier in the year. So thanks to Mr. Phelps and his work to make sure we get those additional funds. That's all.
Any further discussion on the budget resolution? With no further debate, we will, vote. Ms. Michelle, will you call the roll, please?
Miss Kinnon,
Yes.
Miss Arnold,
Yes.
Miss Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Peach,
Yes.
Mr. Thornton,
Yes.
Mr. Hargis,
Yes.
Mr. Livingston,
Yes.
Mr. Winters,
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt.
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? 10 yes.
10 yes, motion to approve the budget resolutions passes. The next item on the agenda is, to approve the participation in the EPA Clean School Bus Grant and approve Cumberland International to submit the application. Do we have a motion?
Move approval. Bill Marks.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We do have a motion and a second to approve this, participation. Do we have any discussion?
This is the same type grant that we received last year. Cumberland International they don't call it a grant, I think it's a different term, but they will submit all the paperwork, as they did before. If we do receive, the funding, we would have to have 2 diesel burners that we would take out of, service, but we still have some older buses that are gonna be coming out for long, too long. According to them, the odds of us receiving it this time are probably, the percentages are pretty low, but if you don't stay in the pool, it appears that they're probably doing this on a yearly basis. What I would advise you to, your opinion on electric bus may be the same as mine, it may not be, but if we don't seek this funding, somebody else is gonna get it, and so to me, it's what's best for our county to submit this. And last year we received, well, I guess for this year's budget, almost $800,000 for the two that we received. They've been working, keep them in the city limits, and they've been doing the job, so that's all I have unless there's other questions.
Do we have any other discussion? With no further debate, we will vote. All those in favor of approving the participation in the EPA Clean School Bus Grant and approving Cumberland International to submit the application for that grant, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All of that is approved. That's all we have on the agenda. Next is the director's report.
Thank you, Ms. Kennon, and congratulations. And you, Mr. Livingston, welcome back. So, I look forward to working with Shauna and been working with Robert for a while. Look forward to working with you too. Ms. Kennon and I have been going over some of the responsibilities of chair, and the first one is your ethics report due at the end of the month. So, she will be reaching out to you to make sure that you get online and complete that. And if you need any assistance, just please reach out to one of us and we'll be glad to help you with that. Spring planning, we need to act pretty quick. I have talked to TSBA, they will send an individual here to do training. Obviously, there's a nominal fee, but when you look at the fee compared to 12 of you traveling to Nashville and staying in a hotel, it's more than affordable. With that said, you can also sign up online or you can attend meetings with TSBA. So what I'm gonna do, unless I have some objections, I'm gonna go ahead and reach out to TSBA and go ahead and schedule us a day during the week, late March, early April. Then I'll let you know as soon as we can work that into their schedule. If we schedule it and you're not able to make it, you can still attend an online course or you can attend one of their meetings throughout the state. Any questions about that? Okay, the Education Freedom Scholarship Act, I thank you for approving that resolution. I think it's important that we share with our elected officials and, you know, that we have no issues with homeschool and we have no issues with private schools. I have dear friends that do both. But our stance is simple. We do not think it's right to take public dollars and spend them on private schools. And so that's basically what the resolution says. And from an educator standpoint, you're gonna hear it's not gonna affect Benton County. I might agree with that next year, but in 3 to 5 years, it could be detrimental to Benton County, physically and educationally. And so I just hope that you will pay close attention to that. And I have, in my 11 and a half years, I've never went to schools. First thing I told all the teachers is this is not political. But I'm telling you, if there's ever a time you need to reach out to your representatives, this is the time to tell them your concern. So I will leave that there unless anyone has questions. The 5th district school board member will be appointed at the January commission meeting next Tuesday, January the 16th. Also, the mayor will be presenting a proclamation for the school board, for School Board Appreciation Week. On behalf of our students, our staff, and our community, thank each one of you for the hours you spend to make sure that our students and staff have the best schools possible. I would encourage you to come if you can make it. That's next Tuesday night at 6 o'clock at the county commission meeting. Thank you to Ms. Milner for being here tonight, and Mr. Shannon for taking care of the technology to explain A through F grading. I'm just gonna tell you that we will continue to strive to improve each day. But one grade on a test given once a year will never, whether a high score or a low score, be a fair measurement for our schools. And then, the last thing I mentioned earlier, I would encourage you as school board members to take some time to visit your schools and see the work that's going on. And I think you'll see a lot of good things. Last thing I have for the board is I'll close. If you noticed, in honor of Mr. Cooper, not only a colleague, but a dear friend for many years. But I don't think anybody on this board or in this community can argue that we're better individuals because Joey Cooper touched our lives. And I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to know him and love him. Please keep Miss Renee in your prayers and keep our school board in your prayers. And I've checked on Miss Renee today and she's working every day and seems to be strong, but she needs our prayers daily. So I will close with that, Ms. Shauna.
Mr. Lawrence, can I ask a
Sure, absolutely.
on the vacancy? Did the election commission receive any qualified?
We have one qualified candidate for
The re-election or?
that will be eligible to run in August.
Okay. That was the
And
question.
I mean, that's public knowledge. That's Mr. Brad Mills.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. The next item on our agenda is visitors before the board. I'm going to read our policy, or a part of our policy on visitors before the board. The chair may recognize individuals not on the agenda for remarks to the board if it is determined that such is in the public interest. A majority vote of members present can overrule the decision of the chair. Individuals speaking to the board shall address remarks to the chair and may direct questions to individual board members or staff members only upon approval of the chair. Each person speaking shall state his name, address, and subject of presentation. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes unless time is extended by the board chair. The chair will have the authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who is disruptive or does not adhere to board rules. Individuals desiring additional information about any item on the agenda shall direct inquiries to the office of the Director of Schools. Also, a reminder that the board does not respond to those individuals speaking. Do we have any visitors? I didn't get the paper. Mr. Cagle, will you, explain a little bit more?
Sure. Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, members of the audience, I'm Charles Cagle. I'm the attorney for the Board of Education. This county has an unfortunate experience in that we have a member of our professional staff who is being accused variously in the community of some acts that, if they are true, might constitute criminal behavior. We are not in possession of any of that proof. And we are not interested in running. The laws of the state of Tennessee are very clear. If anyone in this room has any evidence, any clear evidence of inappropriate behavior by any adult who is employed by the school system, you are compelled by the laws of the state of Tennessee to turn that over to law enforcement and to the district attorney general. The employee about which we are talking right now is under suspension without pay in the district, pending investigation, and we've been notified by the district attorney general that investigation has begun. As the chair lady has said, we will not be responding to any comments that are made by anybody tonight. This board has to remain, at least at this point, neutral, because if there are future employment actions that have to take place with this employee, then this board has to be the jury for those actions. So they have to read the transcripts and read the proof and make sure that they hear the case appropriately. Unfortunately, we can't have that broad discussion. Again, if anybody has any proof of any inappropriate behavior on the part of any school employee, then you have under the law, you're compelled to report that to law enforcement or to the district attorney general. If you have that here tonight, I would urge you to go forward to the DA's office, who's already begun that investigation. Under 49.5.512, under Tennessee Code 49.5.512, the superintendent of schools has the ability to suspend an employee for up to 90 days pending an investigation, or longer if the investigation remains active. The employee that is being mentioned in the community is under suspension without pay as we meet here tonight. Madam Chairman, I'll stand for any questions. But I would just urge us not to respond to if there are public comments, we cannot respond to those.
Thank you, Mr. King. Nobody. Okay. Since there are no visitors before the board, a couple of reminders. Ethics statement is due January the 31st. I do not know where I'm supposed to check that information, but I will. And I will be calling. Because that has to be done. You have to do that. The state doesn't care what your excuse is.
Joey usually called me at least 3 times.
Well, then I'll start tomorrow. I will remind you tomorrow and every business day after that. How about that? Another reminder, Monday, February the 5th at 6 p.m. here in this same room, we will have the next board meeting. Just everybody that's here tonight, please keep all of us in your prayers, because we have an empty spot right here. And he meant a lot to all of us. A lot. He was a voice of wisdom that I went to a lot, and I don't have that anymore. So, but I do depend on all these other ones a lot too. With no further business, the chair will entertain a motion. Do you have?
I should say Joey was the voice of many things besides wisdom too. But yeah, thank you for what you said. Yeah, just that goes in person. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else? The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a second?
Okay.
All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.